This is Christian Rose, Old Evil, That Damn Coyote, Moonshine, Illinois' favorite son, The Truth, The Bitter Lunatic, a man with so many nicknames even I can't remember them all, proudly representing those damn coyotes, King in the Valley, and you are listening to the Sit Down Marks podcast.
Hey, yo.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Oh, yeah. Acknowledge me.
All right, welcome to episode number 103 of the Sit Down Marks podcast. Today, we got a little special episode today. A former guest on the pod is back. Well, he's back because today's guest is going to be in the main event of Dreamwave Wrestling's In With The Out crowd coming up on February the 11th. He's going up against Vic Capri, the ice pick, as we call him around here, for the Dreamwave title. Welcome back, Old Evil, Moonshine's favorite son, The Truth. I call him the working man's champion. That's what I'm going to call him. That's my name. Leader of those damn coyotes. Christian, how you doing, my brother?
Doing great. I love the working man's champion. That's fantastic. I got to get that on a shirt.
Good. Yeah, that was. I think I got that one for you back in October when.
I think so too. Yeah, that sounds right.
There, so, but
happy to be back here. Glad to be back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Thanks for taking the time, man. So, obviously today we're going to talk about Dreamwave, but last time you were on the pod, man, was episode number 68. So it's been a little while, which was back in June of last year. We were right in the middle, or kind of in the beginning, I guess, of what I kind of coined the Summer of Rose. We talked about it back when you were on. You had a big summer, man. How did that all wrap up for you? You know, Journey Pro, Rocket Pro. You had a big 2022, man. How did it feel coming off that year?
It felt really good, actually. It felt like a good, like, I don't want to say like a refresh, but I want to say like maybe a reinvigorating year for me professionally. Had great success at Journey Pro, great success at Rocket Pro. Just had a really, really good year, just wrestling everywhere that I could. Took the holidays to kind of, I guess, like recalibrate maybe and refocus on a couple of goals, change a few things up as far as like my business side of things, you know. But yeah, it was really good. I think I needed 2022 to just kind of like, you know, because we talked about it the last time I was on here, like I've been doing this for a really long time. And I think that 2022 kind of like helped me be like, you know what, you're actually pretty good at this, you know, like snap out of it. Like you're not that bad.
Turns out, you know what you're doing.
Yeah. So, and because like, if you do something for a long time, you do get comfortable, you know, and you start to get, I don't want to say like numb to it, but you get a little jaded. And I think that 2022 was a year where I was like, oh, all right, I'm good. I can go. So 2023, I got a lot more focus on a lot of different things as far as wrestling goes. And I think that 2022 was a good launch pad for what the next couple of years are going to be.
I kind of felt like, did you kind of rededicate yourself a little more? You know, I'm a follower of yours on Snapchat. I see the 6 a.m., 7 a.m. work.
Yeah.
You know, the meals you're putting in, the time, the work, the weights, you know, working in the shitty weather, all that stuff. So was 2022 a little more of a commitment on that side for you too?
Yeah, big time. And then bleeding into this year, you know, I know we're only a few weeks into it, but yeah, for sure. Cause like, you know, I'm big on the phrase, it's from a Gym Class Hero song of all things, but motivation comes and goes like gas station patrons, you know? And, so I enjoy working out and I like trying to be healthy and everything, but yeah, 2022, I was kind of like, I'm not going to say I was slacking early on, but I was definitely just kind of in a routine. And, so then when, you know, you have some big successes at like a Journey Pro and a Rocket Pro and a couple other places, and then like with a Dreamwave coming back, then it's kind of like, okay, I gotta, for lack of a better term, get my shit together. So made the commitment to just getting out of bed in the morning. And it's not that I don't want to, it's not that I'm like staying up super late. I just get comfy in my bed. You know, it's hard, especially in the wintertime, man. It's fucking cold. You know, I hate it. But just getting out of bed early, figuring out a new workout program, figuring out my diet, actually doing some meal prepping and stuff, doing stuff like that, not just for my own health and for the benefit of like my work in ring, but I mean, financially, like it saves money just to be like, oh, I've got food made, stuff like that. Yeah. So I think that 2022 was very, very good for me, but it definitely was that kind of a good hard reset that I needed to just, get your head in the game, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, but I appreciate that you notice it, like I put that stuff up on my Snapchat all the time just to help keep myself accountable, where it's like, all right, on your feet, old man, get out of bed, get on that goddamn bike.
Right. Yeah.
I just
put it back down,
I just like seeing what movies you're going to watch at night. That's my favorite part of your Snapchat. I was like, all right, what's he watching tonight?
I've seen several in theaters so far this year. That was another thing. 2023, I'm trying to go to the theater more often. I think this past week was the first week I haven't gone to a theater since the year started. But I was like, man, I don't know if I really want to go put money and time down to see Plane.
You should. It's a classic. It's not. It's garbage.
Don't
do it.
Like, I was in the theater when the trailer for that came out, and when it just the title came up and it just said Plane out loud in the theater, just said, you can't title a movie that.
Well, I mean, it's exactly what the movie is too. It's just a plain movie.
Anything else?
Yeah, it's the worst.
Oh man.
All right, so let's talk about the now, Christian, as we roll into 2023. Obviously said, a couple weeks in, we're basically now just about a week away from your big match at Dreamwave. Now, let's go back and talk just a little bit about, since the return of Dreamwave, what has happened with Christian Rose. So let's rewind here a little. Now, with the Summer Spectacular came back, you lost in a 6-way match for the Dreamwave title, which the holder, Vic Capri, now owns. Right after that, you did, which it got a lot of people talking in the Midwest wrestling scene. You did something not a lot of people do at that October Trick or Treat show. You tapped out Davey Richards, man. That was that's huge. That was big. That had to be a big moment for you there, especially at Dreamwave.
For sure. And I mean, like Dreamwave and Christian Rose are always going to be just linked. Those two things are always going to be tied together.
Sure.
And that 6-way, it is also worth noting, dear listeners, that I was not pinned in said 6-person match.
Right, you were not
out there. But that match with Davey, I was approached and was asked, like, are you good for that? And I said, yeah, absolutely. I'm ready. I'm in the best shape of my life.
Yeah.
I know Davey. I've had my run-ins with him before in the past. And I mean, that guy's a different level of professional wrestler. He is a different level of athlete, and one of the most intimidating people that's probably 5'8" I think I've ever met in my life. Like, and
absolutely.
And I mean that as a compliment. I really do. Like, if I know you were there, but like, that's a scary, scary dude.
He's and kind so, of the definition of the word unit. Like guy, you look at a guy like he's a machine. Davey looks like he would wrap you up in a pretzel in a second.
He tried during that match too. Were you nervous working that match? Because it was very technical. It was very mat based. It was different. And I got to say, it was like, I was in the crowd just marking out the entire time. Cause you guys, I love, like, Bret Hart's one of my favorite ever. You guys were very, it was very mat based. It was very technical. It was kind of amazing.
I think that for me, I did like it. And it was challenging because that's just not my usual match. That's not my usual forte. Sure. But like, people forget this, and sometimes I do too, but it's like, I can wrestle. I know that, like, everyone thinks they just, it's just, elbows and big boots and, whatever, but I'm like, no, I know holds, I don't do it that often. I don't get a chance to
I know things.
You have a list that you could go through.
I do. Printer paper with the holes on both sides and everything. The 1005 holds.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I was really excited for that. And I know that like a lot of people, that conclusion, they were like, for lack of a better term, like, oh shit. Like I don't know. I think half of the people that were paying attention and watching thought, okay, Davey's got this. I think the other half thought, okay, Rose has got this. And not to toot my own horn, I don't think there were very many people there, if any, that thought, oh, well, Rose is going to tap him out. I think that was the least likely outcome, and then that's what we got. So I definitely take pride in that. I do think that's a big win for me.
Well, we loved it in the crowd that day. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Christian. So 2 months later, we are back at Dreamwave again for our last show of 2022. Nevermore was the name of the show. The Good as Gold Rumble was the big match of the night. You were able to outlast 29 other men and win the Good as Gold Rumble, giving you a shot at Vic Capri's title, which brings us back to today and talking about the big card that's coming up here. So, February 11th is the card. It's called In With the Out Crowd. We'll get to actual, like, what's going on with the card. But this is a time, Christian, where you get a chance of being 3-time Dreamwave champion. And you've often cut promos with the Coyotes, sometimes without the Coyotes, about restoring the order. And you care to explain about, what you exactly mean when you say that?
So for me, I touched on it a minute ago where I think that Christian Rose and Dreamwave are always just going to be, linked and tied together. But when I think of the stuff that I've done since Dreamwave, initially closed down back in, 2016, I've gotten more in touch with things outside of wrestling and with what I like to call the natural world. And I think that Dreamwave has its own natural world. And if you think Dreamwave and you think Christian Rose, you think Rose on top. That's what that is. That's the natural order. That's the natural world of this place. And, I don't mean to disrespect the guys that were in the company before me and, help build the foundation, but that place got big when I got there. And that's an undeniable fact. And so to me, that's what I mean whenever we talk about restore the natural order. Okay. It's, death, taxes, and Rose on top. That's the natural order. Like, no disrespect to Vic Capri. I, have nothing but respect and admiration for the guy. Vic Capri is an institution when it comes to independent wrestling, specifically in the Midwest.
Absolutely.
The guy's been around for ages. He's a consummate professional. He is so good in the ring. He's so talented. Double tough. Just double tough. Built like an action figure too. Puts in the time, puts in the work. But you're in my valley now, my man. Yeah. Like, my big thing for 2023, specifically when it comes to Dreamwave, is you can be a big star anywhere in the world, but not in my valley. You can't survive here.
Right. And then if there ever was if there ever was like a Mount Rushmore of Dreamwave wrestling of guys that I thought the title would mean the most to, you're right up there, you're on it. And, so let's rewind there a little bit. Let's just say somebody has just listened to the podcast and they have just heard about Dreamwave wrestling. A lot of people hear about the original 6. Talk about the original 6 real quick.
The original 6, like the Deep 6 or
Deep
which
6? Yeah, the Deep 6.
Deep 6. Deep 6 was a group of guys in Dreamwave that some of us were just fed up with where we were at in the company at the time. So there would have been myself, Brew Baker, Rough Crossing, who is one of the best wrestlers in the world that no one has heard of. And I hate saying that, but I only mean as a compliment. So it would have been me, Brew Baker, Rough Crossing, a guy named Danhausen originally. I don't know what he's doing these days. Probably nothing.
Danhausen?
Never heard of him.
Yeah, I don't know. He had this idea about putting face paint on it. I said, that's stupid.
That sounds silly.
It'll never get over.
No.
What an idiot he was. Just kept being a kid with tattoos who does moves. Arya Davari was in at one point. Zara, I'm pronouncing her name wrong, but Zara was had just come to Dreamwave from WWE and NXT. She was in, obviously. And Eric Cannon obviously, and a pillar of Midwest independent wrestling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That was Deep Six. It was really fun. It was really cool. I don't think that we ever got to really show what that group was capable of, though, because like right when we really got the ball rolling on it was when Dreamwave shut down for a few years. So, but really good times. Like me and the guys every so often when we see each other, we're like, "Oh yeah, Deep Six," just as a callback to it. But yeah, man, that was a really cool group of guys. Just on paper, even saying it, not just with the lens of like, "Oh, it's 2023," but just the idea of like. Brubaker, Ruff, Cannon, Rose, Danhausen, Aria, Zara, like that's a hell of a lineup,
It's a murderer's row right there.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Right.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted you to talk about it. I just want to kind of everybody kind of have an idea of a little bit of the history of Dreamwave. So let's get back to February the 11th, though, the card, Christian. Everybody knows that you're a very popular guy there. You have a banner hanging there. Vic Capri does too. But when you step into especially a match of this magnitude, is at your age and all the matches that you've been in, is there any kind of extra pressure there? You get a little bit more jitters maybe because it is Dreamwave. What?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like, I mean, you'll like sometimes like. People are going to hear this that have seen me backstage at shows and they're going to say like, oh, he's, downplaying it. You do get nervous before every match. And if you don't, then you shouldn't be wrestling. And I know that like somebody's going to listen to this that's seen me walk through a curtain. They're like, he's not nervous. Well, lie. I am actually. But definitely when you're in that position, it's already sold out. It's Dreamwave is a big deal in the Midwest, and I'm very passionate about it. I'm very passionate about the Midwest as a whole. And to be on the main event in the title match with a guy the caliber of Vic Capri, plus then you look at the, I'm sure we'll talk about the card, but you look at the guys that are on the card that are not in the main event. Like the level of wrestlers, like Hammerstone is one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
He ain't in the spot that I'm in. So yeah, there's definitely pressure on, there's absolutely pressure on just to like deliver, for God's sakes, Vikingo,
Oh my God. Yeah.
One of the most sought after guys on the planet right now.
Yeah.
And it's the thing where it's like, oh, okay, well, you're in the title match, Rose. And I'm like, oof, okay.
Right. And since you spit it out, man, let's talk about it. Christian, have you ever shared a locker room with, say, a Raven, a Shane Douglas, a Hacksaw Jim Duggan, or a Nick Aldis, like any of those guys?
Those ones specifically, the only one that I've actually shared the locker room with was Raven. Okay. I was on a show with him back in, I believe it would have been around 2013. And I actually got to do a segment, a promo in the ring with Raven. So, hell yeah.
Yeah, right.
And, he refereed a match that I was in that night because it was a quote Ravens rules match.
Wow.
He is unique,
yeah,
to say the least. But was just a genius. I mean, there's nothing really I can say about my experience with him that hasn't already been said. The guy is just scary smart. Very, I guess odd might be another way to say it.
Well, he wasn't able
diplomatic.
to make, so he wasn't able to make last show. So Raven is joining this card with all these guys that have already been booked. So yeah, this should be interesting here.
Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, just to amplify how strong the lineup is. I mean, Nick Aldis was NWA champion for what seemed like an eternity, he's not in the main event and I am. So yeah, there's definite pressure there, like Nick Aldis is an unbelievable professional wrestler. Just he has that throwback style just dialed in.
Oh, for sure. Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about your undercard, I guess we should say here.
Your undercard.
Let's start right there with Nick Aldis, man. Obviously him and Mike Bennett very familiar with each other, NWA. And on the indies and that kind of stuff. So these guys being very familiar is going to be awesome. What do you think about these two guys going at it here?
Might be the sleeper match of the show. Like I think that if you think of like what people consider classic style, I guess, professional wrestling, that's that to a T. I love Bennett to death. He's a great guy. I see him around every so often. He lives in this area. I see him at the gym and stuff.
Right.
He is, man. Also, you talk about a guy getting into some shape, brother. He is jacked to the gills right now.
Right? It's scary.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looking tight too.
Those two, I think, are going to have, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but if I were to guess, if I were to make a prediction, if you just think of like what is classic professional wrestling, that's that match to a T, and to the utmost like ability.
All right, so you talked about Hammerstone earlier. He's wrestling a guy that's been in Dreamwave quite a while too. I think he was with us last time in the October show. Lindsay Dorado's coming back, so you think him and Hammerstone, which both these guys are MLW guys now. So.
Yeah. But if you want to talk, no pun intended, styles clash.
Right.
One of the best luchadors in America right now, and then there's Hammerstone.
Right, yeah.
That guy is a shed of a man. He's just absolutely monstrous big. No, I'm looking forward to it. I think that's also a fun aspect of wrestling is when you get guys that are just at different ends of a spectrum on in the style of what they do in ring. And it's the thing where it's like, yeah, I don't think Hammerstone's doing any arm drags,
No arm bars either.
And if he can, great, that'd be cool, but I'm just not expecting that.
Right. All right, so the next match I got is one of the Deep Six you talked about, Eric Cannon versus a guy, I think a big St. Louis wrestler. Everybody knows his St. Louis, been around St. Louis. I've seen this guy, Dan the Dad. He might be making his Dreamwave debut, if I believe.
I believe Dan the Dad is. This other dude who kind of looks like him named Danny Adams might have been there at one point.
I've been there before.
Recall, but yeah, man, sometimes wrestling just needs to be fun. And Dan the Dad, there's a lot of stuff where I watch his matches and I'm like, my dad does that.
Yep.
And then so far as Eric Cannon goes, I mean, I have nothing but good things to say about the man. I think he's one of the best professional independent wrestlers of all time. Just unbelievably smart. If anybody's listening to this and you ever get the chance to talk to Eric Cannon, one, good on you because he don't like talking to people, but two, he is just a next level when it comes to what a professional wrestler is, specifically on the independents.
Yeah, he is Mr. Minnesota independent wrestler
exactly.
for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so another this match has got a little storyline here, Christian. The local guy, Hartenbauer, right? He's going up against Manders. Now, these guys came out 1-2. I guess they didn't slap each other enough, didn't beat each other enough. They're actually got to do it in a match now, or maybe they liked it enough of each other to do it that way. So Manders is coming back to LaSalle for a match against Hartenbauer. This is a big slappy meaty boys going on here on this one, huh?
Yeah. I like Manders. I think that Manders is in some weird way the Illinois equivalent to my Illinois. The Iowa equivalent to my Illinois.
Okay.
It's a good comparison.
Yeah. We're both very proud of where we're from. And then Hartenbauer is my boy. I love Hartenbauer to death. I don't think I'm going to watch that one though. It's not going to be pretty. I mean, I know that's cliche, but I mean, just both of those guys in ring style is just run, hit, smash as hard as you can until either that guy gives out or I give out and just see what happens first. I mean, Hartenbauer is too proud sometimes to know that he's hurt.
Like he has a bone jutting out of his shit and he's like, I'm fine, keep going.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've never seen somebody get slammed on a floor more than I have seen Mike Hartenbauer get slammed on the floor.
Right. How about
that ain't for me.
Right, yeah. How about the mainstays in Dreamwave, Brubaker and CJ Esparza, now known as the Dope Kings together, going up against the 4-Star Heroes, other mainstays in Dreamwave with Matt Nix and Chris Castro. So this might be the Dope Kings collectively first appearance together, I think, in Dreamwave as the Dope Kings, I believe, correct?
To my knowledge, yeah, for sure. And I mean, Brubaker is a guy that's also synonymous with Dreamwave. You know, I mean,
sure, absolutely,
literally been on every show since day one. CJ is so good, so talented. Mm-hmm. And then 4-Star Heroes, man, Nix and Castro, people don't talk about it. They were in Dreamwave for a long time. Yeah. They had a lot of great moments there, you know, on their own. So it'll be cool to see this. You know, if you think about it, like we have the Dreamwave Championship back, we have the Alternative Championship back. I don't know for sure. I actually don't have any inside information on this, but like logically thinking, you would assume that the Dreamwave tag titles would have to be brought back, you know, at some point in 2023. Right. So, you know, both of these teams are going to be like, hey, you know, we need a shot. We need to be in contention, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, for sure. And moving on to the next match, a lot of these guys would probably, you know, love to have these Dreamwave tag team titles should they come back. Let's talk about your boys, man. Those damn Coyotes.
Yeah, Connor, buddy.
Yeah. Damien and Brooks going up against Hunter, 12 gauge, and a mystery partner. Now,
yeah.
Why the fuck do they get to have a mystery partner all of a sudden? Like,
man, I don't know, because they don't have any friends. So if you're gonna be friends with 12 gauge and Hunter Holdcraft, you want to keep it a secret.
Right, yeah.
Like no one wants to own up to being their third partner. It's gonna be some random masked man that
would be surprised if the guy is wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the last show, we didn't just have the Good as Gold Rumble, but we kind of had the start of this issue too, because it was me and Connor against 112 gauge and 100 Holdcraft. If you get the chance,
that was one hell of a match.
Oh yes. Man, I loved it. I loved that.
It was great. It was really, really good.
One of the best tags I've ever had. I think I had to tell Connor afterwards. I was like, I think that's the best tag match I've ever had, not teaming with Matt Cage. And that's a high compliment.
Yeah, quite a compliment though.
Sure.
But yeah, that's where the issue with my boys and those guys started, and now here we are. So
yeah. I could tell you guys were proud of that match too.
They better have a good ace in the sleeve, so to speak, on that mystery partner thing, because I know my dudes are ready. You know, my guys are absolutely ready. Connor is absolutely dialed in right now. You know. And Berna, again, he's too proud or stupid to know that he's hurt. Damien's putting in a lot of work right now, getting into the best shape that he can get into, and he's studying a lot of footage. He knows how to pick people apart. I'm excited for it. I am curious as to who the mystery man is.
Yeah, we'll all be excited to see who it's going to be. So also a couple matches left on the card we'll talk about. They're going to have a pre-show scramble match. I think Axel Rico's in it, Aaron Xavier, Bucky's in it. The winner gets to face Jay Fowler on the main card. But let's talk about one more match here, Christian. We talked about it. You know, it just got reintroduced at the last show. Gringo Loco is your new Dreamwave Alternative Champion, and he's putting up the title against three of some of the most amazing Lucha Libre wrestlers on the world right now. I mean, who's hotter in the world right now than El Hijo del Vikingo? Like, holy shit, that guy's all over everything. He's coming to the States. Black Taurus is Black Taurus is big right now. Taurus,
yeah,
man. Like in Ray Horace, man. Like, talk about this match. This is, I don't know if LaSalle's group's gonna be able to hold this one.
It's absolutely insane. Like, these are guys that, like, you know, if you're a wrestling fan, you've watched those PWG highlight videos. You know, these guys are all over them for the past couple of years. Unbelievable athletes. You know, Gringo Loco, obviously the alternative champion. Black Taurus, dude, it's not just the stuff athletically that guy can do, but the strength that he has is absolutely next level. Ray Horace, like you said, one of the best high flyers and Lucha Libre stars in the world, period. And then on top of all that, El Hijo de Vikingo. I mean, dude, like, I hope I don't have to follow it, honestly.
Tell Jay, don't put that right before you.
Put that early in the card.
Yeah, please do another intermission to make people forget something. I don't care. Like, hit them with that Men in Black pin if you have to.
Right. Yeah. Erase our minds.
I mean, Vikingo can do things that like you used to just think of with like action figures when you were a kid, where you'd be like, oh wow, that'd be really cool. But then you're like, oh yeah, but you know, reality and gravity and physics and whatnot. And that just doesn't apply to him.
Those are suggestions to him. He's like, yeah, now
real life video game.
Yeah, really, like, man, I mean, when you've got Will Ospreay sharing your stuff saying that's impossible, you know, like that's you know, so far as that style specifically of wrestling, it doesn't get much better than that, if at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be exciting. We're going to be watching so much action going on. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, after all that big card, man, and then we get to the main event, Christian, what's the key to beating Vic Capri, man? And I'm going to let you stir on this one a little bit. After you answer that, I want you to let me know. Let's just say you win the title that night. What's the over-under of how many Miller Lights would be consumed?
You know, I'm going to flip it. I'll tell you the over-under right now. 30.
Okay. Fair. Love it.
So far as the key to beating Vic Capri, you know what? I'll just throw it out here right now. I don't care. It's public knowledge. I'll let everyone know my game plan. I'm going to headhunt him. The man had a real serious concussion last year, suffered by one Davey Richards. Oh yeah, that we talked about earlier. I tapped out. Guess what? A month and a half later, he had another serious concussion while competing for All Elite Wrestling. All right, cool. Got it. Well, he's had time off and everything. I understand that. You got to heal up. But if there's any place in the world that someone with 2 serious concussions within the course of the past 8 months does not want to be, it's in a ring with me. That's it.
No mercy.
Like, dude, the man's strong as an ox. Yeah. You know, I mean, look at him. He's smart. He's tenured. He's been to Japan. He's been everywhere. He knows his stuff. I'm not going to try to outsmart him. I'm not going to play chess with the dude. I'm not going to muscle up to him. You know, like, he has a lower center of gravity than me. He likes the exploder suplex. I got that. I get it. No, screw that. I'm gonna headhunt him. I will brag on myself here a little bit. One of the things I don't think I get enough credit for in wrestling is being a striker. I think that, like, there's a million people right now that throw a lot of strikes, and I think there's maybe 10 that throw better than me, so far as the independents go.
Okay.
Like, I aim small, I miss small.
Right.
My strikes are on point. I very rarely, if ever, miss. Yeah, man. Like, that's not where Vic wants to be, you know?
Right.
A right hand, a right elbow, or a left boot? No, that's that.
So you're saying it's going to be a bad time to be Vic Capri or a Miller Lite on February the 11th?
Probably the worst things that you could be on February 11th are Vic Capri, him, and a can of Miller Lite.
One of 30.
Oh, man. I love it. Well, this is the point in the show where I would tell you guys to go buy your tickets, but guess what? It's been sold out for quite a while. Yes.
Yep, you can't.
Too late, suckers.
Right. You heard about us talk about this card. That's why it's sold out. And plenty more people are on it that I didn't even mention, including a lot of your Dreamwave favorites. So, all right, Christian, we're gonna let you go home here shortly, man. But I want to talk to you real quick, man, just on the way out. So, first of all, thanks for the time today, brother. It's a pleasure to talk to you. You're one of the best wrestling minds in the Midwest that I've come across, man. I love watching your matches. They all tell a story, and I love it, man. So just want to give you a little bit of flowers there before we go home.
Well, since we're giving flowers really quick too. So we had an Iron Spirit show last week, and it was more than 2 handfuls of people that came up to me and were like, "Where's Christian Rose? Why isn't he here? We want to see Christian Rose." I'm like, I don't know. I think he's in St. Louis at the moment, but I'm sorry that, like, if they got mad at me that you were there, I'm like, I'm just on commentary. I don't have any control over this. So I thought that was very cool that people kept coming up to me and were like, "Where's Christian? Like, where?"
So we pointed them towards our booker.
Yes, like, go talk to that man.
Yeah. I would love to come down there. That sounds like a great time.
All right, Christian. So it was Royal Rumble weekend, man, and you watched the Royal Rumble. And so I'm going to just throw out some things that happened and just give me a quick little thoughts here, man. What do you think about Cody winning the men's Rumble?
So I thought that although predictable, I thought it was good. I don't think that predictable necessarily always means bad. Sometimes the logical conclusion is the right conclusion.
Right.
Okay.
You know, I couldn't have pictured anybody else winning it. I understand some of the discourse about, it should have been a surprise. You know, I get that. I can see both sides of that coin. If he had come back as a surprise, that would have been, very cool. But yeah, like overall, I love that match. I dug Cody winning. Like when I say the predictable isn't necessarily bad, if you go watch a Marvel movie, man, you know that they're going to win at the end.
Right.
You gotta see how they do it. That's what really matters,
Yeah.
Really good analogy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that with most types of entertainment, But yeah, no, I was totally cool with it. Him coming back as a surprise at 30 from a pec injury and winning would have been a little too John Cena in 2008-ish.
True.
That's a good point.
Personally, I'm weird about this. I wish that number 30 had never won, just because when I was a kid, there was the curse of number 30.
Mm-hmm.
That nobody had won from number 30, even though that was the one. That's the one that, logically makes the most sense.
Right.
Right. So I'm curious to see where they go with it going forward. I would love to see next year, before the Rumble, I'd love to see more matches on Raw where the winner gets to be number 30, because now we've established that, hey, you actually do have, a shot at winning this.
Right.
If you're number 30. And I'm big on having stakes on things in wrestling.
Sure.
Who's to say next year we can't do a 2-week mini tournament and the winner gets to be number 30, because it's like, hey man, 3 or 4 people have won from there. You should won it anyways. But
it's a coveted spot.
Yeah, it's valued,
Right. Well, on the flip side, what'd you think about Rhea Ripley winning the women's Royal Rumble?
Huge fan of Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
Huge fan of Rhea Ripley. She's awesome.
Agreed.
Man, she's good. She's strong and fast, and she hits people really hard. I love it. If you told me when the Judgment Day thing started, if you had told me that I was going to like the Judgment Day, I'd been like, you're wrong. You're just lying to me.
Right.
But Rhea Ripley, also first woman to go from 1 to 30.
Awesome.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Honestly, I hope they never do it again.
Me too.
I hope that's I mean, obviously, I want well for the person, but I hope that her big thing in her career is that she's the only woman to go from number 1 to 30 and win.
Okay.
What'd you think about the appearance of Nia Jax? I have to ask that because no one
Dude,
likes it.
No. She sucks. Oh my god. That music hit and I just went, oh come on.
Yeah.
I never need this. I think it's
well. When I seen her, I thought, "Oh God, please let it be a one-off." And then she's screaming at everybody, "I'm back, bitches!" And I'm like, "No,
no."
Please. Oh,
And of course, they botched her goddamn entrance, because
that too, which
that's just typical,
just indicative of this entire endeavor. Yeah. Could have just not done any of that. Could have just put anybody else there. But no.
I'm glad she didn't injure anyone in her brief stint in the Rumble. I'm
to our
surprised
knowledge.
that she didn't. Yeah, to our knowledge.
I don't know, man. It hurt me when I saw it.
Right. Yeah. Christian, you don't wear any yourself, man, but are you a fan of face paint? Do you like what Asuka had on? That looked pretty cool.
I loved that.
Weird thing. I understand that there are the Asuka one, the throwback to the Kana character.
Mm-hmm.
I very much enjoyed, but typically I hate face paint in wrestling. I can appreciate it when it's good. I really can, and that was very good. But 99 out of 100 times, I'm like, I just really fucking hate face paint.
Why? Why are you putting paint on your face? Everyone knows it's you.
I've also just like having matches with guys that wear face paint. I'm like, so this is just going to come off of you in 2 minutes and blur all over my gear that I spend a lot of money on. Cool. Like,
you know, I never thought about it in that perspective. Like, you got shiny new, brand new, pretty gear, and you got to wrestle somebody that wears a shit ton of paint.
I wore some fun new stuff at Anarchy just recently that is a flannel print gear because I wanted the most Midwest thing I could get. I got flannel print gear with a logo on the front and the back, and it's excellent stuff. But boy howdy, you know, you pay $160 for a pair of fancy underwear, and then you're in the ring with somebody wearing fucking face paint.
It's just I actually do like face paint, but it just always reminds me of like at the end of any Jeff Hardy or Sting match, they're always just like so patchy at the end.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's not that I dislike all the wrestlers that wear face paint. There's plenty of face paint wrestlers that I enjoy. I like Jeff Hardy. I've come to enjoy Sting. I like Asuka a lot. I just wish they had something else on or nothing on their face.
Right. Wrestler question though, Christian. All right, let's just say like you go and you know the paint starts to get smeared around, it gets on their body and stuff. Does it make it hard sometimes to maybe execute a move to kind of is it slippery? I guess is my question.
No,
Mixed with sweat?
I wouldn't say that. Yeah, if anything, it's not slippery. Like it's just like paste
Goo.
almost, but like yeah, it's just goo. But no, then does it make it difficult? Yeah, because then I'm just mad and I want this to be over. Especially because most venues don't have showers either. So now I have to like try and towel myself off in a men's room or just drive for hours home with your chalky face outline on my chest and shoulders. I'm like, Right.
All right, 2 more things about the Royal Rumble, man. We'll let you get out of here. What'd you think about Booker T's appearance?
So cool.
I mean, it happened.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I thought he looked like a stiff board out there.
he was slow.
I mean, he's an old man. What do you want from him?
He's
I
not
think he's
that
in
old.
great shape for as old as he is, but I was just kind of like, this is I don't know. To me, when I think surprise entrance, I never want the surprise entrance to have like a big run or eliminate 6 people or anything.
Right.
I just want like a surprise. And I was just kind of like, oh, all right. Like I was under the impression he still works there. Does he? Can anyone tell me that he does?
Yeah, he's the NXT commentator.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, well, that's kind of a mild surprise, I guess. Like
Surprise.
Well, he did. He just came out, got his shit in, did the spinneroonie, and got out.
If they had done that exact spot with Wade Barrett, I would have lost my mind.
Yes.
Yes, me too. Me too.
Kind of like, oh.
Booker
All
T.
right.
All right, let's see your slow ass spinner Rudy, which
Bad
he gave it
news.
socks, but
Right.
yeah.
All right,
What about Michelle McCool? What'd you think of her coming in from the crowd?
I'm not gonna lie, I had walked into the kitchen to get food. Somebody had said she was in the crowd, and I was like, that's weird. And then when she came into the Rumble, I was kind of like, oh, well, that makes a little bit more sense now. But yeah, I missed that whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah, she was like, all right, you kids stay right here. I'm gonna go get in the Rumble. You know,
you kids will be fine on your own. Don't talk to
I think
strangers.
that's part of what makes the Rumble like my favorite thing, though, is just the insanity around how it works. Where it's like, okay, you could be eliminated by people who are already eliminated or not in the match at all. You could be in the crowd and be in it. If somebody gets bludgeoned half to death in the back, somebody else could just take their spot. Like, even though there's like other people that had to have qualifying matches to get in. It's like, wait a minute, I could have this qualifying match, or I could just beat the shit out of somebody in the hallway, and then I'll take their spot.
It's so lawless.
It's just absolutely insane. It is.
I'm glad you brought up the people who have been eliminated a la Judgment Day, eliminating someone who's still in the match. I hate that spot more than any spot in the entirety of professional wrestling. I hate it.
The first time that I really remember it being a thing was Hogan and Sid.
Hogan, yeah.
And it's like, well, wait a minute. Hogan is the babyface who gets eliminated clean, but because he's a sore loser, he pulls out Sid. And then Sid, who is justifiably pissed off, is supposed to be the villain. And it's like, well, wait a minute. No.
Hogan's like, oh, brother, I'm gonna be a cunt, and pulls out his supposed friend at that time.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
admission.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid.
yeah.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
weird.
All right, Christian. Last thing, man. Have you
Yeah.
enjoyed the Sami Zayn bloodline storyline?
Man, I think it's the best thing in wrestling since the Hangman Page and Kenny Omega story.
Okay.
I think, yeah, I think it's the best thing in wrestling right now, period. By far.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that the last time I was invested in a storyline to that degree, yeah, man, it was Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. And that got capped off over a year ago. So it's great to see this, especially in the WWE, because they traditionally, for a very long time, didn't put that much time into their stories. You know, it was a lot of like a 3-month, maybe if you're lucky, 6 months, you know, that they would hype and build something. And this has been going on for like 9, going on 10 months now.
Yeah, quite a while.
And I love the twists and the turns. I think that all the guys involved deserve accolades from now till eternity about it. Like,
yeah,
I think that one of the things I like is that I always enjoy good versus evil. Always. I mean, that's a hallmark of professional wrestling.
Sure.
But when you can tell a story that has those shades of gray, I think that that's something that just really, really hooks people in now more so than in, you know, the past. And it's a thing where it's like, you can watch that bloodline story and you can almost be like side with Roman at certain points.
A little bit, yeah.
And then there's times where you can side with Jimmy or Jay. And there's times where you definitely side with Sammy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and then there's times where you are like, no, wait, why are you doing this? In regards to all of those characters, even Paul Heyman. You know, like I think that they're all just absolutely nailing it right now on this, and I'm excited to see where it goes. You know, friend of the show, Damien Chain earlier today was talking to me, and he's like, I'm worried they're going to mess it up.
Me too. Terrified, actually.
I understand that, but I'll say this: after the conclusion of the Rumble, for the first time in maybe 20 plus years, I think I have faith in that company to get it right.
Yeah, right. I know.
And I it's weird, but I'm like, you know what? I think they might actually do it justice. But here's the thing: I don't know what that is. Right. I love not knowing the conclusion. I love not knowing where it's going, because that's how you get people to tune in.
Yeah.
You know, like people turn off their TVs because they know what's going to happen. So why bother watching it? We watch something else.
Right.
But with this, like, yeah, I did not expect what happened at the end of the Rumble to be what happened.
I thought a big part of it too was that, like, the reason why I think that people are even like the unsung hero of all this is Jey Uso. Like, that was totally expected, and now people aren't even. They're like, because Sammy, that was expected and awesome, and it was best pop ever. But then you have Jey doing great story work, like just walking on. It's fantastic. I can't.
It's kind of full circle with Jey, right? Like he first had to beat him into the bloodline at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It really is, and I think that that's going to come back as part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we all know that, like, Elimination Chamber, man, it's in Montreal.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You have to give Sammy a big match there. I almost think it won't be a match. I almost think it won't be a tag. I had the split second where I was like, I don't know how they get there, but what if they did Roman, Jimmy, and Solo against Kevin, Sammy, and Jay?
That's exactly what I was thinking too. Be amazing.
I'm not saying that they're going to, but I mean, like, a possibility. You know,
right? Yeah.
Well, I think WWE is hiring writers, Christian. So
turns out they're utilizing them too.
Give me a gig, you know.
For sure. Yeah, I love it too, man. Like I said, I think they've done very well. It's been very detailed, and I think that's what I've loved about, you know, putting the whole story together. So I think it's been done very well. So Christian, man, good luck, brother. We're about a week away from Dreamwave. Looking forward to seeing you on that day, man. It's going to be a big, huge day. With any luck, maybe next time we'll talk to you, you'll be 3-time Dreamwave champion. But thank you so much for the time today, brother.
Anytime. You guys always love being here. Y'all have a great show.
Thank you, Christian.
Brother. Appreciate it.